welcome all and happy new year. We're back here with our world, our power with Lady Pauline and my co-host, Mr. Glenn Greenwich, the Honorable Mayor of Sutton Boulevard. Happy New Year, Glenn. How are
Happy
you
New Year.
doing?
Happy 2022.
Yeah,
Looking forward to a powerful, prosperous, healthy, and wealthy 2022.
yes, right. And today we have our special guest, Mr. Keith Simon, who is a financial social worker. I'm very interested in that, Simon. Can you tell us a little bit about what is a financial social worker?
Yes. First of all, thank you guys so much for having me, and of course, happy New Year, and wishing you two a happy and healthy New Year, along with your cast and your crew members and everyone else. Super excited. So thank you again so much. Financial social worker. Well, I'll tell you, did social work about 17 going on 18 years. And in seeing all the things that have happened with our unfortunately indigent population, one of the major things were that finances wasn't big, if not 99% of the issue.
Okay.
So when I saw this business, I said, wait, I can do social work and still teach people how to take care of their money, how to budget their money. And when I discovered that, I said, this is what I'm doing. I'm putting my heart and soul into this. I'm a social worker, I'm a helper anyway. So, you know what?
Wow,
I got
that's
to do it.
awesome. We all do,
Yeah.
but I never created the financial part with the social work. But
Mm,
this is very different, and I'm very. When I saw your bio, I was like, oh wow, I really have to interview you,
thank
because
you.
I know a lot of people that's I have worked with in this field. They have a lot of problems with their finances. How to maintain a lifestyle other than street life. So it's part of the plan that when you sit down with them and try to help them get their life together, part of the big plan is the financial part. And
Yes.
yeah,
And the financial awareness, I think this, what you're pointing to is so important, especially if you're trying to get yourself out of a hole, and especially if you've got some kind of addiction or something that's holding you back. Most people have difficulty enough with their finances, and so to have that extra socialization holding you back makes
Mhm.
it even more difficult. So, tell us a little bit about your social work background, and then let's jump into this the financial well-being side of your business.
Oh man, thank you so much for asking. Wow, where do I start? You're gonna make me want to do more social work than financial social work.
well, let's begin at the beginning.
Right. So the meat and potatoes, I actually started, don't count my age, but I actually realized that I was a helper and just love people in the late 90s when I came out of school. Went right back to Harlem. And as we know, the 80s was a high school where I saw a lot of the drug abuse and so on. And then the 90s, of course, Reaganomics hit when I came out of school and there was no work. So
Yeah.
my dad said to me, hey, you know what? It's okay. Go to work so I ended up working in the kitchen, washing pots with a bachelor's degree, yes, from a prominent college. And all he said to me was, do not worry about anything except to pay your student loans. Just pay them off. That's all we want you to do. And unlike a lot of people, lucky for me, I realized that that's not enough because if I coming out of school with a bachelor's is worried about finding a real prominent job above 19 or $18,000 a year, which I realized and calculated couple of thousand short from poverty level, then what about everyone else? So I introduced myself and started really diving into social work.
Okay.
Started with foster care. So I literally became a foster care worker, running in and out of courts, or a family court, Brooklyn family court, from Brooklyn to Queens, from Queens to Westchester, from Westchester to Long Island, from Long Island back to upstate New York, and I mean just literally all over the place. Manhattan, had to park my car, walk to Manhattan. Sometimes I'm in court 3, 4 different courts a day.
Yeah.
It was the trying times. It really was trying times for our people.
What? Let me ask you this. I know that one of the
Yeah.
big issues that we still have is our young people of color aging out of foster care and not having the resources that they need to support them. Is that still an issue? Are we any better off in that arena? What
Um,
would you say?
I think we're better. We're not better off. We're better understood.
Okay.
So solutions, unfortunately, solutions doesn't come because you understand the problem, right?
True. True.
Solutions come when you implement some action to help the problem or resolve the problem. So a lot of what is happening is that our families are aging out of foster care, and they're going into a shelter. Yes, shelters are still prominent here today in this country, not just New York, but they're going into shelters, and from shelters they're working and going to school and in the shelters at the same time. These young people today, in my opinion, are more resilient than what we were back then, right? They really are. The issue is that they're asking for more. They're asking for more knowledge, and we're not giving it to them. So that is consistently the issue today, especially.
Now, one of the things, Keith, because I also worked in the social service area, and I did work
Hmm.
in, foster care. I used to work in the group homes, when the kids were removed and they were put in group homes. And so that group home setting was very traumatic for a lot of young people, especially people of color. But one of the things that I realized about it was that a lot of the young ladies that I work with, they graduated high school, they went into college, and they really made good careers. Everything really wasn't bad. It wasn't like, oh, I came out of the foster care agency and now everything is downhill. A lot of them, they either went into the service or they transformed their lives. And one of the things that really found out that, is everything is possible in this world, that you can transform your life, no matter how low you might be financially or emotionally. There is that other turn that you can make. So I don't know if you found that out, Keith, but I realized that there's a lot of people today that have education, but they're still in a financial slump. I mean, they're really in a bad way. I mean, you just cannot move, for some reason. It's like you're stuck. What is some of your suggestions, Keith, about being stuck?
Good question. Good question. Let me start by reflecting. I know a young lady for sure that one of our success stories was that she became a prominent attorney after being in group home pretty much all her life. Right? She had then moved to Chicago, and in my opinion, she's probably still doing very, very well today. So yes, there's nothing, and we hear this all the time, but it's not a cliche. It's real. There's nothing more solid than a made-up mind. If you say this is what you're going to do and you follow through, people and things will come upon you that will help you to achieve. So in that sense, there's a lot of young ladies, as well as young men who have grew up in group homes and eventually successfully have done well, in spite of some abuse and all of that good stuff. I say good stuff because sometimes what may be so negative of a trauma to you helps you to be who you are today, right?
I agree.
Fast forward, yeah, and fast forward to today. What about the ones who, like myself, who think that I was quote unquote super smart, right? Went to a prominent school, had a nice career, and turn around that I know absolutely nothing when it comes to taking care of my finances. We believe that you go to work, you get paid, you pay your bills, you take care of your family, you take care of your home, and that is it when it comes to finances. And then we fast forward 40 years later, and we have a hundred, 50,000 or 60,000 for retirement. That
Yeah.
means you've done nothing to prepare.
Yeah, I'm one of those people that I'm serious. I'm shocked. I really am, because I grew up in the old school that you go to high school, you go to college, you get a good job, and you save some money, and you're gonna be okay. They
Hmm.
don't tell you about the little pitfalls that happen in between. Like, I got sick and had a heart attack at 45.
Hmm.
That changed my whole life, and I don't think people are prepared for that life change. That everything doesn't always go smoothly. So I look back now that I'm a senior citizen, and I look at my social security check, and I'm like, oh my goodness gracious me, this is what it's all about. I've worked all my life, and this is all I'm getting.
Yeah.
It's like you're like, woo. You don't know where to go, where to turn anymore. But I would say the young people today have different options,
Yes.
than we did.
Well,
Yes.
there's
Let
also
me.
you also have to
Hmm.
remember too that back then you worked at one job, and that job prepared you somewhat for retirement, or at least had a pension and so on and so forth. In this day and age, you're moving around. The jobs aren't taking care of you like they used to, and so you're now really left to fend for yourself. And that's why someone like yourself, Keith, is so important to be able to navigate the loose ends, and to be able to pick up the pieces financially, so that you're not left at retirement with kind of holding the empty bag.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's something called a three-legged chair in the financial industry. The three-legged chair is so vital. I learned this concept, and this is what I do. I teach a lot of financial concepts. The three-legged chair literally talks about the three types of your of finances where your money is going to come from. One is from your pension, if you get one. We know we don't get one these days, right?
True.
The other is, of course, social insecurity. I call it social insecurity because I don't know if I'm going to get it, but you guys have it because I pay into social security for you. I don't know if a lot of our young people even know that they need to get up and go to work if they're not working, because they will be take. This is how they will take care of their parents and their grandparents. Okay, I always make sure that I make that point. And of course, the third arm of the chair is of unfortunately the personal savings or personal finance, which we don't have. So what do we have to survive on? Well, you mentioned about not knowing that we're one health hazard away from poverty, right? No matter how much you have, it's very, very difficult. There's something that is today that was not before called long-term care. And long-term care has a combination of, it can be standalone, or you can have it combined with this with life insurance policy, which is which is fortunately for me, I sell this every single day, and it's called an index universal life insurance policy. And most of the prominent financial companies, uh, like a Transamerica, Nationwide, Pacific Life, Voya, and so on, all of these companies have this policy. So if you have that heart condition at age 40 and you cannot take care of yourself, whereas one would go on Social Security income or Social Security disability income, you still have created a nest egg where the company, pennies on a dollar, will help to take care of you until that fund is exhausted.
Oh wow, that's very interesting. I know a lot of people don't realize that, um, but that's good to know. So, how do people become aware of all these different types of insurances?
Well, this is why you have me on, Lady Pauline.
That's very true. I'm learning something here myself right now. So I guess later on I'm going to be calling you.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. I dare to say, let Lady Pauline, let this show or this interview go viral, right?
Yeah.
I dare to say that to your audience because, unfortunately, there's one state, Washington State, right now, who actually you have to pay into taxes into your long-term care at the start of December, November 1st, 2021.
Oh, that's good.
Yes.
That's good though, isn't it?
Well, not so good because it's supposed to be you would take care of it without having to the government dipping into your pocket where you're
Okay.
paying taxes for accumulating that long-term care. So no, not so good.
No. Oh boy. Uh,
No.
Well, long term care, um, over the years, probably over the last 10 or 15 years, has
Hmm.
probably doubled or tripled in terms of the normal cost. Am I in the ballpark around that?
You are absolutely not in the ballpark. No, I'm kidding. You're in the ballpark when it so standalone long-term care, which is what most people are familiar with.
Right.
Standalone long-term care, you work hard, you pay for a specific portion of policy for your mom and say, hey, when time comes and my mom goes into a nursing home, I have $60,000 to take care of.
mhm.
Unfortunately, once that $60,000 is taken is runs out,
Right.
it's also for a certain time period. So let's say 3 years, mom is in a nursing home for 3 years, they would exhaust that 60,000.
Right.
Whereas the long-term care attached to the life insurance policy, it runs you all the way out to 50 months, and or when you choose to stop it or continue it, or stop it and continue it, so that it takes care of you
Now, I
throughout.
wanted, that's very good, but I wanted to find out that long-term life insurance policy, can you start it at any age?
You could start it at any age, and this is where we say it gets a little bit expensive with age because it's still part of a life insurance policy. And life insurance policy, of course, gets expensive with age.
Okay. So what about these life insurances that they talk about at the beginning of the year for $20 a month and stuff like that? Are those legit? Are they? What do you think?
They are. They really are. But my question to most people when they talk about it is that after you, who's going to explain that you're buying life insurance off of the TV? Who's going to explain what you have unless you're able to explain it and read it and understand it for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, a lot of them, the colonial pen and so on. I'm laughing because
Yeah,
someone
that's
just mentioned
exactly.
that to me this
Yes.
morning. Yeah, someone just mentioned that to me this morning. And what happens is that it's all either term life insurance for a specific time frame, and then it turns convert into a whole life policy, which is going to cost you more, or it's already a whole life policy, and really what you're getting is probably about 10 or 15 or even or the most probably 20,000. It's
Keith, could,
literally just burial.
Keith, could you explain? Because I don't know that most people understand term life versus whole life. Can you give us like an overview of what the differences are
Absolutely.
and how it works and how it can work to your benefit? Because there's certain times in your life that you may want term to fulfill a particular life issue, and but there are also points in your life when you might want whole life for a longer period and looking to support your finances.
Gotcha. Thank you so much for that question. So there's only two types of insurance. There's term and permanent. Either you have something that is permanent from the time that you take that insurance policy to the day you pass, or you have it for a term, 5 year, 10 year, 15 year, 20 years, so forth,
Okay.
all the way up to about 30 years. Now, the simplest example is that term life is renting. So you rent an apartment, and the landlord says, even if I pass away as a landlord, you're gonna still be able to stay in that apartment for 30 years because my family members, my wife, my kids would take up the rent. So there you are living in that apartment for 30 years. Once that 30 years up, you have nothing unless you decide to convert it into a whole life policy. You get the opportunity to do so. So if you have a whole life policy from the beginning or a permanent policy from the beginning, then you don't have to convert anything. What would happen is that you would pay the same amount for that policy all the way through your lifetime. So, what you're mentioning is that life insurance is an asset. You can collateralize life insurance. So, for example, you have a $250,000 home and you're unable to buy a permanent $250,000 policy, then yes, you can back your home with that $250,000 policy, but it's not for you. I always make sure that I stress to people life insurance is not for you, it is for your family that's alive.
Okay, I see. So it's like a
Yeah.
security blanket for the
Life
family.
insurance for the family. So life insurance policy will sit in your drawer, which most of it does. And when you pass away, it comes alive and take care of your family, and it will do more for your family than you can ever do for your family. Because when you're not here, that life insurance policy turns into you, pretty much literally. A
Okay.
100,000, 200,000, literally. You can never provide that for your family. You could provide $50 a month, $80 a month, $200 a month, but you can never go on in your drawer and say, here, son, here, daughter, here's 200,000.
Okay.
Except for the top 5% of the country, of course.
True, true.
I love the way you broke it down. It's understandable, and I like it what you had to say because a lot of people don't really understand, what life insurance is, or they just take out, especially minorities. I mean, years ago they used to have different types of life insurances, and when the family member dies, you basically just have enough to bury your family member. There's nothing left over, you know, and those aren't the best of policies. But they do say now, but when you take out insurance, make sure that you at least have $10,000 because they're telling you it takes at least $10,000 to bury somebody. So you need above that, obviously, Keith.
Absolutely. And that's a perfect segue into that question because I was going to mention that. See, unfortunately, the industry always tell us what? Just exactly what we should or shouldn't do. Go to college, get a good education. They don't tell you going to college, getting a good education is also going to work, teaching you how to go to work. So if you can literally say, hey, mom, I probably could never give you what I want to give you ever in my lifetime because I'm making $20 an hour and I'm taking care of my entire family. But I'm gonna always make sure you have $100 in your pocket at least twice a week or at least twice a month. But then I pass away and I leave my family 250,000 and I leave my mom and her husband or my mom and my dad another 250,000. I don't care if they're 95 years old. They would do whatever they need to do with 250,000. They would die happy, very happy.
Okay.
Absolutely.
It's
Okay.
for the survivors.
Yes. Why is this really not taught in school? I mean,
Good
basic
question.
education. I mean, I'm talking about in elementary, high school. Why is this not taught? Because if people were taught this, I think they would have a different outlook. When they start working or open up a business and so forth.
Very good but very simple question, and it's really a straightforward answer. I want to enslave you to my labor so that I would be rich and you would be poor.
Okay.
Nothing to do with class, nothing to do with race, nothing to do with, I mean, let's face it, Johnson and Johnson Jeff Bezos may be one of the wealthiest in the world, but Johnson and Johnson is not too shabby either, is it?
Right.
No,
True.
no.
Very true.
So it's a teaching. If you master the autonomy that I am going to be that person who is going to provide work, then I can rise, and you will always be mediocre. Get a
Wow,
business,
it's deep.
says Robert Kiyosaki.
Yes, he does. Love that man. Rich dad,
Yeah,
poor dad.
yeah, I do believe in owning your own business. I truly do. But that too comes with another set of problems. I guess in life there's always problems. That's the bottom line.
Well, the biggest problem with owning your own business is understanding taxation in this country, really. Everything else you can learn.
Yeah,
The rich leave clues. They love to mentor us,
I
but
hear.
we don't love to listen because we because we think we cannot have what they have.
Okay.
Yeah.
I now when you work with individuals that are say just coming out of incarceration
Hmm.
or people that has been in institutions and stuff like that for
Hmm.
long periods of time, what is the first thing that you tell them to get themselves together, or how would they get themselves together? What's the first thing you would tell them?
Good question. So, in that, I go back to the social work aspect of myself, and what I know back then is that my first question is, what are you going to do with yourself now that you are not no now that nobody's going to tell you what to do? What you going to do? Who's going to tell you what to do now?
Right.
Because first, of course, you have to be acclimated back into the world that is not going to tell you what to do, but you're going to have consequences of not doing what you're supposed to do.
Okay.
So you can go from incarceration to a quote unquote indigent or quote unquote bum on the street in 2 minutes. Why? Because somebody was always feeding you, whether good food or bad food, you were getting three squares, as they say. You didn't have to wonder where that was coming from.
Right. Now,
Now, can you work for it?
hmm but now I see a big transformation that people have worked and do become homeless. They do
Yes,
have degrees and
yes.
they're going to work and they're still living in a shelter.
Oh man, this is right up my alley. The financial concepts that I teach is why I do this business. People don't know how taxes work. People don't know about the three-legged chair of retirement. People don't know that there's actually a formula for wealth, Sister Pauline. There's a formula for wealth. It's called the wealth formula.
Okay. I certainly haven't learned that part. I'm sorry to say the wealth
Hey,
formula.
we're gonna learn it together.
Okay.
We're gonna get it.
And and
Yeah.
and how do you start that? How does that begin for somebody? Just say you have worked all your life, you don't have anything saved, or you just had bad luck or whatever you want to call it. How do you obtain that?
Well, there's a gentleman named Earl Nightingale who will talk to a gentleman called Andrew Carnegie, who says it doesn't matter how rich or poor you are. It doesn't even matter your educational status. It matters what you learn now because we're in the richest country in the world. How? Provide a service. If you provide a service and provide it well, you will be wealthy in this country. There's a gentleman called KFC, right? Rich,
The
Ray
Colonel.
Kroc, the
Yes.
Colonel.
Hmm.
Ray Kroc finally was considered a millionaire as at age 80. 80,
Okay.
right? And there's some others, right? Henry Ford. Henry Ford wasn't that young when he finally started selling cars, right? And there are many others like that. right? Mark Zuckerberg and these guys the glory about them, the Facebook guy, is because of how young they are when they became who they are,
True.
right?
Well, Keith, we're going to take a commercial break, and then when we come back, I want you to spend some time talking about the 3 stages of finances: accumulation, protection, and distribution. So when we come back, we want to have some conversations around that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Great, thank you. We're going to.
Are you looking for a taste of the South? Well, honey, come on down to Carolyn's. We have fried chicken, catfish, whiting, barbecue beef ribs, mac and cheese, and some collard greens, freshly made desserts, and much, much more. We're located at 2564 Hempstead Turnpike in East Meadow. Order online at carolyns.kitchen and receive 5% off your first order.
All right, how you guys doing?
Wait, how'd you get your video like that? Is that 4K or something?
Right, you got us over here looking like a hot mess.
No, it's actually a powerful live streaming app for Mac called Ecamm Live. You know what? Let me show it to you real quick. So you're able to use your mirrorless camera as a virtual webcam, and you can tweak the colors right in Ecamm Live using their camera effects, and then bring this video right into Zoom, Google Meet, and pretty much any other virtual meeting app. You can even stream directly to Facebook, YouTube, or LinkedIn and bring in comments right onto the video. And you can customize the look, size, and position of the comments right in the app. Or you can even add your logo to the corner of your video, or yourself, or both. There are plenty of picture-in-picture styles to choose from if you're sharing your screen for a tutorial or doing a presentation. And it doesn't have to be live. You can use it to record a course and eliminate the need to have to edit it later, all in 4K quality. And if you got a green screen, you can set it up right in Ecamm Live, and you can bring that into your different meetings. If you're feeling fancy, you can move yourself into the corner of your frame to do a commentary or a reaction video. You can even add in video clips just by dragging and dropping it in. Pretty much everything's drag and drop. Y'all follow me? Okay, good. So if you want to step it up a notch, you can add some overlays to your video, whether it's a simple graphic or you want to have some titles or other info at the bottom of your screen. You can even add animated overlays like this one or this one. And with Ecamm Live's interview mode, you have full control over the look and feel of your broadcast. And you can add branded overlays to frame you and your guests and look like a real legit broadcast. And you can save each layout as a scene and switch between them with the press of a button. You know, these days between virtual meetings, school, live streams, we on video all the time. So you just want to show up in a way where you can be confident and proud of. And for me, Ecamm Live is at the center of it all. Did y'all get all that?
You were on mute.
Worried your friend's struggling but don't know how to reach out?
You could say how are you or get a fake tattoo. You could ask with an app if it works for you. You could write them a text or knit them a sweater. If you can't be together, you could write them a letter. Whatever gets you talking. Whatever gets you talking. You could chat on the game, kick off your flip-flops. You could ask on your couch while you binge watch. However you do it, you gotta ask a friend. And if they don't share, you can ask again. Whatever gets you talking. Whatever gets you talking.
There are a lot of ways to reach out to a friend about their mental health. Learn how you can help at seizetheawkward.org.
When I was your age, I was just like you, fascinated by stars. But now I get to search for life in the universe. And who knows, maybe life is looking for us too.
So we're like aliens to them?
Yeah. Does anyone want to be a scientist now?
I do.
Awesome. We need more girls in STEM.
Maybe we can find aliens.
As a young girl, I just grew to love using power tools, pouring concrete, and doing things that were scary and loud, and yet I looked around and realized no other girls are doing these things. As I grew up, I realized that girls need to see themselves in this space. Start here. So that's what I set out to do, and I became an educator and a mentor for young girls. No masks down till clear. Making teaches girls how to think of their ideas as important. Go light. It changes the way they think about what they're capable of. If I can fuse metal, what can't I do? Perfect. Look at how good that was. And so I think making for girls is about voice, and that's what's really exciting, because we're building the world we want to see for ourselves. Now I want to hear why you make.
Share your own Why I Make story today. Visit whyimake.org.
You made your house a reality. Homeschooling yourself on loans, color-coding listings, and flushing every toilet in a 20-mile radius. If you can ace house hunting, you can do it for retirement. Get on track with tips at aceyourretirement.org.
All right, welcome back. Welcome back. And we have Mr. Keith Simon, who is our financial person who's also a social worker, but we're going to be focusing this part of the conversation really around financial products and around the three phases of wealth development, which is accumulation, protection, and distribution. So Keith, give us a little background. We've been mostly talking about insurance, and however insurance is a piece of it, but there are some other components for wealth development and wealth building.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, the real phrase, I hate to say it, but the real phrase is something called a financial foundation.
Mm-hmm.
It's something else. It's another concept that unfortunately has not been taught in school, but has not been taught, period. So the financial foundation talks about investment. It talks about debt management. It talks about creating an emergency fund, and then it talks about proper protection. Now, how do you accumulate wealth? There's a good gentleman we call him the Oracle, right? Warren Buffett says
Sure.
You accumulate wealth slowly. Everyone wants it like this.
Right.
He says you accumulate wealth slowly. However, if you put the formula together, you would absolutely accumulate wealth. The first portion of it, you talk about accumulation. Robert Kiyosaki puts it best. He says accumulating wealth is where you bring money into your pocket, and then of course if you're losing money, then money is coming out of your pocket.
Right.
So the gentleman again, Warren Buffett, says you spend what is left after saving. Let me say that again. You spend what is left after saving. If you're able to do that just by that one principle, you will be wealthy in this country. Why? If you're not spending and you're saving, would you not be then able to use the difference of what you're saving to invest?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That is essentially cash accumulation. Period. So I love this because I get to break this thing down just to the nitty gritty. Keep your money in your pocket. Right? There's another gentleman that says cash is king. I was watching a video of Robert Kiyosaki a couple of weeks ago, and he says, if America continues to print money, why are you saving it?
Exactly.
And I said, what? But really and truly what he meant by that is you accumulate assets. You don't accumulate money.
Cash.
You
right.
don't put that money in the bank. Accumulate assets. Accumulate 2 or 3 homes if you can. You don't accumulate $150,000 car. That is not accumulation. That's a necessity. That's a need. In case of someone who's in Snellville, that's a need. But you don't have to buy a $150,000 car to get around either, do you?
Right.
No.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, we accumulate income or accumulate wealth because we want to see our family members do well. Again, it's not for us. If it was for us, there would be idea to say there would be more robbers and thieves.
Okay.
Yeah, more than likely. Sure.
Think about it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of those telltale kind of things. Because if I just need money for now, guess what? I just go get it.
Right. Right.
Right? I just go get it. So the accumulation goes back to psychologically, we think that we are taking care of ourselves, we want to make ourselves successful. Success has nothing to do with that cash accumulation or that accumulation of wealth.
Keith,
Let's talk about, go ahead.
Is it one of the numbers that have been tossed around quite a bit is saving 10 to 20% of your income for investments and or is that still true? Is that still a goal?
Good question. There is a rule: 20% of your income is what you quote unquote would need to take care of yourself when you get older.
Right.
Now let's be realistic now.
Mm-hmm.
20% minus inflation and taxes, okay?
Right. True.
So you're really talking about 60%.
Okay.
So if you're working for 40 years and making 40,000, you really think you're really looking at really putting away 120,000 times 20%.
Mm-hmm.
Where the 120,000 come from? You have to double. So that's 80, right? And then the years, 10 years in accumulation. So let's say you're 65. Our life expectancy for women in this country has moved up to maybe about 80, 86 maybe.
Right.
But really and truly at that point, you don't want to do nothing and you don't want to go anywhere. So you're not really spending much. So where does it go? To the grandkids, to taxes, right? So that 80-20 rule or that 10-20 rule is something that we talk about, but the realistic portion of it is who is making 60,000 today and then 15, 20 years from now is going to be making either more or less. So as your income fluctuate, how are you going to really sustain how much you really need? So we break that down for you. We break that down with the personal financial strategy. You have to know how much you're spending, what you're spending it on. Can you afford the Porsche Cayenne for 80 and 90,000? Can you really afford it? Can that one tire cost you that $1,000 tire that that unfortunately blow out without no one knowing or understanding why? Can you get that car back on the road tomorrow by just walking into a dealership and say, "Here's $1,000, put the tire back on my car"? Most people can't even do 500.
And that's the truth.
And that's real. Matter of fact, it has come down to less than that right now. It's about 300 of emergency fund. So we have to create an emergency fund. That also is considered cash accumulation. Accumulation of that emergency fund stops you and your family from stress, more importantly, and it also creates that protection that you're mentioning. See, a lot of times we think protection means that you're building something around yourself to protect you. There's a gentleman that explained to me one time. He said, "Man, you could have so many friends, but you know what? If that almighty dollar is your best friend, guess what? You'll never be out of friends." I said, "What?" Listen, I'm a social worker. Don't tell me that. I service people. I think service is your friend.
Right.
He said, "Yeah, service is your friend until you realize, Mr. Social Worker, you've been getting paid 25,000 for 15 years now.
Right.
True.
How you like them apples?" And I said, "Wait a minute." And then I go retire on 25,000.
Not a whole lot.
Not a whole lot.
No.
So the wake up call, and I'm glad we're touching on this, because the wake up call goes right back to, I hate to say it, but it goes right back to life insurance. If you as a family, as a couple, can build your finances around life insurance and long-term care, where you don't have to worry about mom, she's protect, somebody comes in and take care of her, including her social security, and you go to work. So many people have to take care of their wives. By the way, guys, it's about 50,000 people that turns age 65 in this country every single month.
How many?
50,000.
Wow. Wow.
Ooh.
10,000. I'm sorry, 10,000.
So we're the baby boomers. There's a lot of us.
Yeah. Think about it. But it's true. It's true, because think about it. Let's say you're 65 and I'm 50.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that far apart.
No.
Right.
No, it's not.
Arthritis is kicking in on the 45-year-old these days.
Mm-hmm.
Never mind. Right? Based on work or based on just or not work. How about the substance abusers?
That's true.
They turn 65 by the age 30 or 35. Right? Unfortunately, we still have an HIV population that has lingered over the years. They're turning 65 and weighing 2 pounds again. Not because they're not taking care of themselves, but because it's just time. Right? Cancer. I mean, all of these things, we talk about proper protection. You're not protecting yourself against a health hazard. You're protecting yourself against a health hazard that will cripple your family. It's not about the money. It's about the fact that you can say, hey, grandson, Papa is going away permanently, but guess what? Papa has left you $50,000 to go to college in the form of life insurance. That's the key. For us, that's the key, because we don't have that wealth. We cannot go to the bank and pull 50,000. We cannot, it goes back to what you sell that will generate you 50,000. Isn't it a home? Mm-hmm. Isn't it a raw product anyway?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it a car dealership anyway?
Okay. I
don't like silence. I don't like silence.
That's because my mind is racing a minute away. I have some family members, and they have out life insurance on my grandchildren.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like my granddaughter was just born. She's just gonna turn a year, and she has a life insurance policy. And I looked at my son-in-law, and I said, why? Well, I felt kind of strange. This is a baby.
Yeah.
And he has insurance policies on all my grandchildren. And he says, "Oh, they're okay. They're gonna be taken care of. Don't worry. I've done everything." And I just realized how I was raised. I never heard my mother and father talking about, "Oh, I have life insurance on you," or anything off that order. I didn't hear about really life insurance until I got a job, and the job said, "Well, we'll give you life insurance." And then once you left the job, the life insurance was gone.
Right. Yeah.
So that's how much I got into life insurance. So if I was on a job for 10 years, I felt really good. I had life insurance, my kids were okay. But the moment you left that job, now they said, well, it's going to last maybe 6 months, and then after you have to take it up on your own. But they don't really break it down to you that if you do not do that, then you have no coverage at all. And you're just out there in the wind blowing, which is crazy.
Can I scare your audience a little bit?
Yeah, sure, scare us. I've been scared enough. Go ahead.
Babies die too.
Yeah. Okay. That's true.
How many? It's just been finally recorded and been talked about. How many African American, black and brown men and women in this black and brown women in this country who have died, or their children have died of childbirth?
Right.
We are
Right.
just really recognizing that for lack of prenatal care. It's a big deal. Down syndrome amongst us, African American or black and brown people, is not as prominent as the Caucasians. But guess what? When our children have a Down syndrome, it's a automatic death sentence for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, because of lack of prenatal care.
That's
So
true.
let me scare you guys a little bit. Now let me make you feel a little bit better. Actually, let me share some real statistics with you guys. By the way, Bank of America is the number one insurance company insurer of people in this country.
Bank America.
Second, Bank of America. Second to Wells Fargo, and the list goes on and on. The financial institutions, when you walk into a company like AIG, and you show AIG over 10 years that you know what you can do, and you will be a prominent person in there to generate income for their company, they slap a $500,000 life insurance policy on you.
Makes sense.
You know something?
Tax deduction.
Yes. But you know something? It's so funny you mentioned that, but I had a business years ago, outpatient clinic, and I had partners. And one of my partners had said to me, "Oh, I'm going to take out a life insurance policy on you." You know, and I was like, "What are you trying to do? Kill me and then collect the money?" You know, I'm glad. Well, first of all, I'm glad I didn't take it out because that's what he was trying to do. But nevertheless, I do realize that when you are in business with people and stuff like that, they do ask sometimes. You know, I'm going to take out a policy on you because of
Yes.
your worth.
Yeah.
Yes.
Worth to the business. Yeah.
Yes.
It's called a key person insurance.
Yeah.
Or key man insurance. If me and you, or if both of you guys are in business together, how can I fill your shoes if something happens to you? We
Okay.
may not click. We may not do business the way you both of you do business. I don't want you, the grandson of Lady Pauline, to be my business partner. I don't even like you. You a little arrogant guy. I don't want to talk to you. I want somebody who's 65 or 55 who understands life and so on and so on and so forth. I don't want you. So I don't want to do business with you. So that life insurance says, hey, you know what? It's okay. Here, young man, here's 50,000. Thank you so much. And I will take 50,000 because I'm buying Lady Pauline's share so that I can find someone else in the interim to take care of that space.
Wow.
It's
What?
powerful stuff.
Yeah.
And it goes back to two words: life insurance.
Insurance. Oh wow.
Well, Keith, we've got about 5 or 6 minutes left.
Already?
Already,
yeah,
yes,
already.
I know the time is going quickly. For those of us who may have some extra money to invest, how can your company support us in investing? What are the tools and products that you have available for those who have some residual monies to invest?
Good question. So one of the prominent things that we look at is annuities. And if you are healthy and you can afford, yes, life insurance, index universal life insurance. And index universal life insurance will allow you to accumulate assets based on tax code 7702 of the federal government laws. They allow you to literally put more money into the policy, including your yearly premium, so that you can accumulate some funds and recuperate that funds when you want it, how you want it, tax free.
Okay.
Excellent. And what kind of return on investment are we talking about for those kinds of monies?
That's a good question as well. We're looking at the highest that I've seen is 15% in Chance America. It's the highest in the country.
Okay.
It's the highest in the world.
Well, that's pretty
year
good
over
because
year.
15% over 5 years, you're doubling your money, right? Isn't that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Compound interest, by the way. So
Mm-hmm.
you're not just doubling your money, and you will never lose money as well as if you had your money in a 401k or the stock market. You'll never lose money ever. Your money just get compounded.
Excellent.
Now,
Excellent.
now, Keith, tell the world how they can reach you if they need your advice or your counseling or your financial advice and counseling. How can you be reached?
Hey, thank you so much. So I also host a show called Keith's Financial Fix. So you can Google Keith Financial Fix. You can reach me by Keithlin Simon or Agent Keithlin Simon. I have a prominent website there as well, Wealth Financial Group or Wealth System Builders dash Keith Simon. You can reach me there. Or just Google Keithlin Simon or Google Keith Simon, and then make sure you see a dark face like myself. um, the reason being, I found out a lot of English guys actually have the name Keith Simon. So my full name is Keithlin Simon, but you can literally reach out to me. I am not that difficult to find. I am on Instagram as well as Keith's Financial Fix. Facebook is also a Keith's Financial Fix because I'm really trying to push especially our social worker or healthcare workers who take care of everybody else except for themselves. I want to get our money right.
Okay. Well, I'm going to be calling you for
Absolutely.
next week to help me
I
get my
welcome.
money right.
I welcome the call.
Yeah, because it is the new year, and that's something that most people try to at least try to make an attempt to fix. Is their finances.
Gotta go to the financial doctor.
Doctor, you are it.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. And I like to say you've been listening to Our World, Our Power here on Our World Media Network. Please don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Our World Media. And our phone number here is 347-410-8077. And you can reach out to Lady Pauline or Mr. Glenn Greenwich anytime at, can they reach you, Glenn, besides 347?
They can reach me at the Sutton Boulevard Business Improvement District at 718-291-2110. And don't forget to subscribe to us, to like us, and hit the notification.
Yeah. And if you really need to get a hold of me immediately, you can reach me at 646-340-7271. And this is Lady Pauline. This is our first show for the new year, and I hope it's been an inspiration to everyone listening. And thanks again, Simon, for coming on and enlightening us about finance today.
You are so welcome. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Take care. See you all next week, Saturday. Same time, same place.